How? I don't know what's going on here. All right. All right. Let's see what we doing here. All right. Peace to God. First person that I was like, I need to build with the God. God, man, I'm gonna call you this weekend, man. Like, it's crazy the stuff that I have to deal with, man. And it's like I throw out something, and let me tell you something. I got so much negativity from a little Kendrick Lamar comment that I made, and I will go against it. I have the historical record on my side, and that's why people get mad. But so much so that somebody I know, haven't spoken to in years, really thought that he could tell me that this 5% shit is some kumbaya shit. And when I told him, like, yo, then do you, man? I don't care. Like, do you? I'm gonna have my own thoughts and stuff. That's what I do. I'm a music writer, whatever. Brother, so-called former brother, like, really threatened my life though. Like was gonna kill me. Like, you know, like this is the kind of week that I've been having, you know. And I keep talking about the need for positivity and stuff. I keep noticing very blatantly, just like I spoke about last week, like people really wanting to take everything negative. And like I said, I called it, man. I said, this is the what, you know, black is the new white. And when Trump was president the first time, you saw a trend where people imitate their leaders no matter what they say. You know, just like people imitate the things that they read in the media as their own opinions without even thinking that they did that. And when it comes to presidents, people emulate a president, you know, peace to God. And what I saw was the first presidency of Trump. You saw devils be empowered to be devils, you know, expose their racism and be racist. You know, we saw the proliferation of Karens and things like that on a level we never saw before. So I'm trying to fix this hat. I feel like it's crooked and you know, just, but and yeah, and I said black is the new white because now a lot of black Americans, led by Tariq, it's not just Trump, really want to be empowered. And instead of going at the real enemy, they go against those that are around them. And yo, whenever I say this all the time, and it's going to bear a lot of repeating, whenever, anytime that you decide to find the wrong in a people's, whatever label you want to give them, Latinos, whites, this, you will always find the worst in the large label, you know? And a lot of times people forget that, you know? People like, well, we did this for you. And I'm like, people like on the internet, the FBA, they go, oh, well, we did this and we did that. And I'm like, yeah, nah, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. You don't tell me about hip hop. You didn't do anything. I did stuff. You didn't do anything. Right? And it's like this ball team. Everybody's picking their own teams. Everybody's feeling empowered to just exile and exclude. It's the way of the day. And it's just a long story, and I don't want to get into it. That person doesn't deserve this type of thought process. But I'm saying it's really out there, and I've been dealing with a mass amount of negativity. And let's think about stuff like this. Like we think about stuff that we might think is positive, things that we might think are negative are really positive, you know? If people know me in my hip hop, they always know that I always speak about the many artists that don't get shine, that don't get spoken about. And that there are hundreds of people that I speak about, like King Kamal. A lot of people didn't know how incredible King Kamal was until I took the time to share him with everybody, you know, and explain, like, listen to the details, listen to what he's saying here, how he says it, the craftsmanship. That's the job. That's the work I do. But a lot of the negativity that comes is that I always expose the commercial. I am very rarely for the commercial, you know? And I find it funny that I have to hear arguments about the depth of a performance when that would assign Beyonce as the coming of Malcolm X, you know? Because she was the one dressed as a Black Panther, you know? And you know, I see that, Julia. I agree with that. You know what I mean? But you know, people like James Brown, Rick James, all those people, hip hop wasn't really musically astute. Hip hop wasn't. It's so sloppy musically, and when you hear it though, it doesn't take that much. So the musicality of hip hop is in the lyricism, is in the depth of the MCing, the development of that. That doesn't develop. It doesn't matter how well you sample or chop or anything like that. The MCing never develops though. Hip hop is always going to be a lesser music. Always. Right? That's why the pop versions are now is like that, you know. And King, yeah, someone really threatened me, like they, you know, over this King, and I didn't like the King. Like, first of all, I don't like jingles, and Not Like Us sounds like a jingle to me, and it is a jingle. And it's basically a trappy song. So when I said, you know, a trap feel to it with a revolution R&B revolutionary vibe to it, like it was Velvet DeVoe, that's what it is. That's what they're giving you, you know. But it's just crazy that the times that we're in though, that people feel so emboldened to think like that, you know. Yeah, I know. I see what you're saying, King, you know. And again, my viewpoint has always been that there are hundreds of greater artists and incredible artists, and I don't want people to get stuck in the mainstream pond. To me, the mainstream is a pond. It's a few people that get all the money and they dam it up into a small pond. And these are not the deep flowing rivers of music that I'm seeing. That's it. But the fact that people are so emotional, um, the fact that people don't want to look deeper for real positivity and really thrive on negativity, it really shows a lot. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy, Infinite. And that's what I got, you know? And people are funny because I already know people that do that to me got a lot of jealousy because no one can say um my whole career is about helping other artists. That's my whole career. That's literally my whole career. You know what I mean? I wrote about people when they weren't even known. Like look up when I was demanded to write something about another journalist who I didn't care for anyway. But I said it's not proven and it's slander. I'm not going to write that. I wrote about blue scholars in a major magazine. And I took the bullet though. And I took the bullet. I got in trouble for that. You know what I mean? Um, and guys, look up blue scholars. This is a crate. You know, it's a Asian brother duo. And I think I forget where in the Middle East. And the producer was Middle Eastern. Their first album, just self-titled, Blue Scholars. Incredible, incredible. It still stands up today as an incredible album. It's one of the great crates that you'll ever hear. 2005. You know, and yeah, and I think that because there's so many artists, King, that the 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 independent has become a cipher of a lot of cannibalism, and they definitely gatekeep. You know what I mean? They definitely gatekeep. They keep people out of it though. I'm not the greatest MC ever, but I say things that nobody says, and for that, it's worthy enough, I think. And it's crazy that the amount of people that sleep. And when you think about it, right? Like one thing we can say is that this diss against Drake, compared to other famous disses, isn't really like a code or a principle code that they attach to. They're always personal, obviously, but the song ends up attaching to the code of the ethos of the music, like Ether. Definitely KRS One's Bridges Over. It was about the idea of where hip hop started in the Bronx and keeping to that, and what's interesting is that I didn't see any code. It's very underwhelming to me. Yeah, so it's not blown away by it. The reason I say black is the new white is not that all black people. I'm saying that it is now, during this Trump presidency, you're seeing black people empowered to show as much exclusionary division as the way that they saw whites do it during the first Trump presidency. Because what happened, the difference is that during this presidency and the lead up to it, Trump has become a popular success, not just among white people. He's become a popular success among blacks, Black Americans. And because of that, now they take on the mantle or the model that he's let out, as far as letting out. And you see it, the way Black Americans talked about immigration and things like that. You know what I mean? So, that's what I mean by black is the new white, though, And the vitriol that I've gotten, and I'm talking about people that have this universal flag, they say they come in the name, has been on that level, talking to me like I'm an immigrant in this nation, So, and we know that the Drake diss that Kendrick did flew higher because it circulated as a colorism dart, There's no way around that. If you're analyzing the whole Drake diss and Kendrick Lamar beef, and you don't put colorism into it, you didn't really analyze this beef, But guys, I'm here till 8:00. I'm here for another half hour. I've been here for a while, but I had some technical difficulties getting everything running and stuff. But I want to answer some questions. I know, Malik, you're here. Let me answer the questions that you sent me, because I was, and I'm going to say this though, right? Anybody that thinks that they're going to disrespect me and they're going to disrespect what this nation is about, there's a whole army behind me that defends this and respects this, And I keep doing what I'm doing. People's going to threaten me. I'm still going to be here the next day. I'm going to be here the next Thursday. You know what I mean? In fact, I'm saying that, and it's kind of funny to say it now, but if I am out on a Thursday, it's probably going to be this week, because I have a business meeting. I don't think I can do both at the same time. And I'm trying to reschedule it, but I don't know if I can. But yeah. But I noticed this though, because I had to think really deep. Lord Jamal, because remember, in the last week, people have threatened my life. Lord Jamal has threatened to exile me. Countless so-called 5%ers turned the other way when Lord Jamal said that, and I saw it. Certain people I text the video to of Lord Jamal dissing me, like, yo, you're my brother, right? Let me show you the shit this bullshit said. And they didn't even respond to it. Certain people I saw said, I like the Inf Mega video, but I didn't agree with all of it, though. And you know what they was not agreeing with? A lot of these fakes feel that people like me aren't in their place, though, you know? And I'm going to make it very clear. Because the guy I was building with, one of the guys that I love and respect. When I build about history, I'm building about the truth in history. It is biased, though. If people want to go, oh, he's Puerto Rican, so he's saying this, right? And that's a lot of bullshit. Because if you look at my record in this hip-hop shit, the integrity, the proper history of things, the credit was there. Nobody was saying this, though, when I bombed up Solar, right? And showed the honor and the integrity to me, one of the greatest artists that ever did it, the great guru of Gangstar. Nobody said anything to me then, right? Nobody thought it was some kind of colorism thing, right? Being on the right side of the knowledge, you know what I mean, is important with all things, with history, everything. And I would expect that a 5% that disagrees to give me information, not hearsay. You know what I'm saying? Hearsay. Especially when that's not what I came with, you know? And if you're going to spar with me about music, forget that. Forget that. You gotta spend a couple of thousand more hours listening to as much music as I've heard. And it's funny, these arguments aren't about music, though. You know what I mean? They're not even about music. They're really about the other aspects of the culture. And yet people don't know the history. And yo, as 5%ers, we should know the history of P.E.A.C.E. Because when you tell me that black and brown was not united throughout the 60s and the 70s, you're also telling me that, are you telling me that you 5%ers, you guys wasn't teaching? Because there was activists then that were building black and brown together. So people have rewritten history in their own lives, even to denounce the effectiveness of the 5%. And it's people like Allah B and others that they're not here to say how it really was. And I mentioned Allah B because he was one of the Palladium dancers when Eddie Palmieri was doing his thing. And if you know, you know. If you don't, then you never heard the story. I used to gift Allah B Eddie Palmieri CDs on his born day. People don't know the history of shit and they want to tell me stuff. That's fine. But we're going to do it respectfully, and I've always expected that. Right? But again, people are empowered. You know? People are empowered. And you know what, Jeweler? That's wild that Jamar was on Piers Morgan, right? That he gets to be on any forum speaking. But Brand Nubian was pro-black rap group. It really was. It really was. It really was. You know, just like Poor Righteous Teachers was. Not one of those was kicked. They were kicking 5% dialect and even builds, but they never once mentioned who all the original people are. And that means something. That means something. See, people keep questioning why the Sunnis mention if he's Puerto Rican or Boricua, this, that. When I got knowledge, though, nobody had any hold on Latinos. None. There was no hold at all. No reservoir of so-called Latinos getting knowledge. I mean, sprinkle here, there, yes. But there was no hold. Whenever people found Latinos, and if in mind knows this to be true, early 2000s, when they found Latinos and they wanted to teach them, they bring them to me. And I was still young in this. I hadn't even When I just started my class, they bring them to me. Right? How to teach a Latino, how to tell a Latino, you got to tell a Latino that he's black first. I've taught hundreds of all shades. I ain't never had to teach a so-called black American that they black. Because you're not teaching black and brown black seeds that they're black. So there is different things in the propaganda, different things in the 85 way that you have to get through to get to them. That's right. Thank you, program, right? Legendary for Sunez. That are Boricua too, right? So nobody's gonna tell me stuff, because when I do this, when I made these posts, even in hip hop, I'm like, listen, I'm making this post because I'm saying that we really were together, that we really were doing stuff together. And I'm saying it as a point of unity. And I'm hearing contrast say, nah, y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all didn't do anything. Now, is it a fact though? Like, yo, when it comes to anything, original people are original people. If original people by themselves, they would create something wonderful by themselves. So if I say something, and I'm clearing everything up, if I said Puerto Ricans created many of the moves, techniques, not all of them, of course not, but are pioneers as well in the techniques and development of breaking. That's absolute. It took years before breaking was defined. And the very, very first breakers that were black, they are black American, they did not make up all of the moves, and they didn't even use the floor. I see books, there's one breaking book where a guy makes a whole argument through the whole book that Puerto Ricans had nothing to do with it. But then he quotes people like Trixie saying that they was breaking on the floor and they was breaking and they never got dirty. I don't care how dope you are as a dancer. If you hit the floor and down rock, which is the defining characteristic, there's many things that go on in it, but the defining characteristic of it is boom. Then forget black and Puerto Rican. If you wasn't going down on the floor, then you're not the only creator. You're not the only one. That there are roots to it, that there were other directives that were happening in other boroughs. Bushwick, where rocking and all that was already taking place, that influence had traveled through the gangs. No research. So this is about us doing research. Not just saying, we made up everything, we don't need nobody. And I tell you something that I keep saying, this is bad research, because it takes away from all research. It takes away from the fact that black Americans created so much because they do research. I'm going to say that again. Black American art forms aren't just instinctual. Our own people get lost in the fact that blacks are just natural and they just jump and everything. So the cerebral athlete is the white Larry Bird, right? We don't look at the cerebral athlete because they're so athletic. We don't see how cerebral a Jordan was. We don't see how cerebral other great athletes are. Same thing with the music. We don't see how cerebral Miles Davis was. We don't see how cerebral Dizzy Gillespie was. How they was doing the knowledge to so many different styles and techniques and learning, that if they didn't do the knowledge to that, they wouldn't have got the ideas to add on and make that anew or in a new way. The great artist does research. The great historian not only researches what happened, but when he researches how things happen, he researches what are the things that were around the individual that influenced them. Very important. I'm saying all this to say this, though. People got to know, and I don't mind saying it again and again. When I go out there, I build as original, true, and living God. I'm the black man. Sunez Allah is the black man. Don't walk up to me and tell me I'm some other type of God. That's not what I teach. That's not what I am. But I respect the lineage and the influence and the travels, the 9,000 miles of every individual's path. Because the path for someone like me to realize I'm original, I had to realize what is the depth of the meaning of a Boricua, Afro-Indigenous individual. What is the depth of that? And that is something that is very unique. Someone that says that they're Ecuadorian, I've had to take them to the past to find their indigenous roots. But being identified as Ecuadorian is the only way that they can get back to those indigenous roots. Or else they wouldn't know that they exist. It's very important. But my real issue today, though, just like it was last week, is we have to not fall for all of this negativity that people are bringing to us, though. This week, you know, when somebody threatens to kill you, and they're supposed to be your brother for life, though. Because Infinite Mind, you know this to be so. We didn't just have 5% code. You want to say you're not a 5%er? We still had a code as martial artists, and we were supposed to be under that 3 treasures code. Biangzing. Just like I teach my students, I said, listen, you may not like everyone around you right now, but now they are your Sihing, your brothers, and when you see them out there, you protect them. You fight for them because they fight for you and they fight with you. That was our code. We had a code. Just like Infinite Mind said, we are not just one style, diversity of styles, tribes, countries. That was our association. We were coming from everywhere. 3 treasures, Sanbao, Biangzing metamorphosis. Not everybody lived it out. Infinite Mind lived it out. I lived it out. You didn't have to tell me again. I lived it out. So much so that if I said, brother said, listen, I'm not 5%. I disagree with the way you think, Sunez. This kumbaya, you got to bring people. See, if you argue with me and tell me I'm kumbaya, that I'm trying to bring people together, don't tell me that I'm not for like no revolution. That when I don't like a fucking pop song, a fucking jingle, right? A jingle for against a rapper, Drake, that I refuse to write about because I want to concentrate on the hundreds of artists that I write about every year. That's what they said. I'm kumbaya. So don't tell me that I'm not for the revolution, that I'm not doing the hard work here. Don't tell me that I'm not for the original man everywhere in the globe when I'm the one that you're saying is wasting his time putting everybody together. So let's go fight this battle in your side of the street. It's all good. But they know that they have no footing. They know that they're emotional. They know, as I said, for all you brothers, all my brothers that are actually technically FBA, like you are a Black American, you cannot get harped up on labels that are designed to be spoken of when it's time for you to continue to claim shit and feel ostracized every time. Because the validation of your title is not a legacy. When somebody says, for example, that they're Boricua, we're going beyond just the Puerto Rican title. We're talking about our indigenous Afro roots. And it's a great springboard to the knowledge of self. Brothers say that the FBA, they're not getting at the core of what it is to just be Black American. That we are, yes, we are a foundation to so many things here. So many inventions. We're not even talking about music, culture, arts. but that there was a genius and an intellect that was always thriving and succeeding and building. But you cannot attach it the same way as other countrymen of original people, because this is an empire. There's an empire here. It is not the smaller countries that are forced to submit, the oppressed nations, the third world. This is the empire, the country with the most military bases in the world, the only country to throw atomic bombs on other original people, lands of original people. Right? One of the few world powers that still has colonies. Neo-colonies, right? So it's like we gotta know our the more that you define yourself, the more that you gotta know the other original people, and it's become an excuse to not know the original people. I really don't like when people say, people think like, oh, he's just Puerto Rican, don't like it. Man, I hate when people keep saying Jamaicans don't know nothing, they didn't do nothing, they're stupid. You know what I mean? I despise all that. I hate all that. They don't know Jamaican history. They don't know how Jamaica never recorded their music. They don't know how they only heard Black American music because that's all they had. And they had their music that they did culturally, but never recorded. And how just in a small amount of times from the 1950s, really, they developed an entire genre. From ska to rock steady to roots reggae to dance hall. A legacy, wonderful legacy. A small island making the greatest revolutionary music icon. When you talk about a pop icon that is revolutionary, the answer is Bob Marley. Bob Marley. Please stop acting like it's invented today. And that's why I said, if people want to talk music with me and get mad and they don't know music. They keep calling Kendrick Lamar an icon of revolution or next level thought in the pop world. Let him continue onward. And don't get mad when I say that historically it's going to be a crash and burn. Look at the funders, Rock Nation, Jigga, gentrifying Jigga. The imagery and the performative pseudo imagery that they have constantly laid upon us. Look at the Beyonce videos, the Jay-Z videos, the songs, the 444, all of this great imagery for nothing. They're stuck in that pattern, though. To see that the pattern likely will change is unlikely. But we're talking about a cultural pop icon that is revolutionary. We need look no further historically than Bob Marley. That's the standard. That's the standard. And I don't see anything close to that. Anything. And this is why I don't like the disrespect that people have. You know? You want to disagree and say that they didn't do anything, then how are you going to take away the innovations of Grandmaster Flash? The cultural work, not really the musical work, the cultural work of Bambaataa. If you want to take it away as a pedophile. But you can't take it away historically. What that damn pedo did. The merry-go-round work that Kool Herc did was a solidification, if not the complete creation of the breakbeat. It was certainly solidification in how to use it. Because what the DJ is the one that brings the MC. You got to give credit to the first DJ that actually sets a MC, solidifies an MC there. You don't want to give him DJ credit? That's what DJs do. They bring, in hip hop, that's what we love. The DJ brings the MC out. So the first guy to do that has got to get credit for that. This is what I'm talking about. Right? This is what I'm talking about. So we're not looking at history, not looking at, all we're doing is mad about stuff. People get mad at me. I said it's a jingle. You're going to tell me that the music that you heard at that halftime show was not diluted compared to hip hop? That's a different kind of music then. If Kendrick Lamar's stuff is hip hop beats, not diluted by the trap pop or anything like that, then that makes Bad Bunny hip hop too. You know what I mean? These are commercial variations of the hip hop. So don't tell me, don't get mad when I tell you that it's pop. That's like Return of the Dread, right? Yeah, that's crazy, right? I like Peter Tosh a lot. You know what I mean? I think the most beautiful voice out of the original guys of the Wailers was Bunny Wailer. But my favorite has always been Bob Marley. That's what ushered me into reggae. When I started to study it, though, I bought all of his albums first, though, and branched from there. The logical starting point. And I love certain albums. I love all those albums. Survival. I love Survival. That was the first Bob Marley album I heard in its entirety. I love all the roots reggae. That's my favorite type of reggae, roots reggae. Burning Spear, Black Uhuru, But it's just we're not appreciating the beauty. And I hear people talk about original people, talk about Jamaicans like there's some dumb immigrants and stuff, and they didn't even know how to do anything. I used to think that in my neighborhood, that was Puerto Rican neighborhood, and the Mexicans came in, and I used to think that they were stupid. They don't know how to dress. Dominicans, they don't know how to dress. This and that. Used to hate all of them though, looking dumbass. Tight ass clothes. The Dominicans always wore the tight clothes, like super tight, it was fusing with their skin, And we used to make fun of them and stuff. But then you get to know them and stuff, and you're like, yeah, these guys are creative. These people know stuff. They got music. They got innovations. They got cultural ideals, ethos. There's a worth inside the 85ery. You know what I mean? It's our work as 5%ers to work to see that, not just to dismiss and just say, yeah, we made all this up, this, that. No, take a moment to see. Take a moment to see. Steel Pulse. I got to see Steel Pulse live too. Steel Pulse was at free concert in one of the parks down by, I think it wasn't the park, it wasn't Bowling Green Park, but it was near. Really nice show, man. Really nice show. Great group out of Britain. You know what I mean? A lot of classics. But yeah, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And King Kamal's right. If you haven't bought the Unlearned, Mantras Across the Medinas, Burn Silk and Blessed Bees, The Zen of Us, you know what I mean? Heart of a King, King Kamal's Heart of a King is out, and that's got incredible songs. You know what I mean? And if you're right, no relief came until, bro. I'm telling you, people don't know their lesson. I really thought they did, but it's clear as day to me. Paris just regurgitated. Where's your understanding? Yeah. I would say I don't see if Grandmaster Flowers says he made up the scratch, though, that still doesn't take away from what Grandmaster Flash did. Like Grandmaster Flash innovated a lot of things, and it's not just one thing. Like the first mixer, like he made his own mixer. You know what I mean? And he was one of the first to mix out there and blend like perfectly. That when he did it in his autobiography, he talks about when he actually blended, it was so seamless that it threw the whole crowd off. They was never heard nothing go that seamless, so it was just awkward to the crowd, you know. These guys are innovators, you know, and people want to nitpick about this and that, and we could do that all day. But they were innovators, and they innovated stuff that was not around, you know. And just like with breaking and the music and stuff, there are so many facets to it, though. You say people like, look, forget about Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans. Look, Coke LaRock says he's the first MC. But we just saw a clip from Melly Mel saying he's the first MC. But Coke LaRock is before Melly Mel. It's slightly before. So Melly Mel's a liar? I mean, technically, no. Because there's things that Melly Mel did, if they don't get done by him, forget that. We could say that all day, that some other great black man, original man, could have continued to make it. But it was Melly Mel who takes it to the level of 16s, the level of a complete verse. You know what I mean? Like real verses. The first songwriting, you know? So if we argue, like, if MCing doesn't get there, it's still not created yet. If it doesn't reach a songwriting mode, it's not created yet. Doesn't mean that Coke LaRock isn't a creator. It means that there's co-creators to this. This is what I'm saying. People have argued like, no, just the very first people were Black Americans. Yes, I keep saying that. I have never argued that. But the first people didn't do all of it. There were other Black Americans, other Puerto Ricans, select Jamaicans that did monumental things. And it makes it multicultural. Yeah. And this is the thing. But people are aggressively taking the mantle of, if you don't defend what's yours now, it'll get taken away. And yet people don't know how to defend things, including the so-called 5%ers that want to speak this way. The way you defend things that are culturally yours is by creating the culture and learning the culture. People laugh. I laugh. They want to say, jazz this, jazz that. You know how you defend jazz? You know how you protect jazz? Learn about it. Study it. Listen to it. Because people do that. And then that's what happens. They'll do something like, I give you arguments. They go, yeah, they take jazz away from us, right? Listen, most people don't know this. My favorite male singer is Frank Sinatra. They go, oh, Frank Sinatra, they call him a jazz singer and they steal it from us and they give it to him. And we don't research, we don't listen. And did you ever hear Frank Sinatra albums, like the actual albums? The albums, let's say 2 albums, for example, he did with Count Basie. Frank Sinatra knew jazz singing, was a jazz interpreter, was master, improv master. Even as we talk about, and I'm saying I'll finish this thought here, even as we're talking about jazz singers, the real greatest jazz singer is not a male. It's Ella Fitzgerald. As far as technique and everything goes, you know what I mean? Right? Yeah, that's peace, Julia. That's peace. You know? Like, for example, if you know the music, I really love Tony Bennett's music too. But Tony Bennett really isn't jazz. And if you listen to a lot of Tony Bennett, a lot of Frank Sinatra, you could see the glaring difference. You know what I mean? But you have to listen. It doesn't mean that that's the reason why Tony Bennett isn't as good as Frank or something like that. Maybe, because Frank could do more, you know? And if you argue, if you like Frank Sinatra's voice better, which I do, but again, like people would do these arguments though, but like I've heard all like I've heard the entire Frank Sinatra catalog. I've heard the entire Ella Fitzgerald catalog. I've heard the entire Billie Holiday catalog, the entire Miles Davis catalog, the entire Coltrane catalog, and on and on. My man Jimmy Smith, because I love the Hammond B3 organ. So, you know what I mean? I've heard the entire Bennett catalog. So when I speak on it, like the way that you defend arts and culture is not be yelling out, we made this and you guys wouldn't have made anything and this and that. Go listen, go study the culture, enjoy the culture, let it uplift you, and see the worth of it. Read the stories of the culture. You know? This is how you defend your culture. This is how you uphold it. Stanley Turrentine, one of my favorite sax guys, you know? And he went through all of the hard bop, soul jazz, a lot of albums with the Hammond B3 organ because his wife, Shirley Scott, was not his whole life. They weren't wed their whole life, but throughout their main years in their career, they did a lot of duet albums because albums together because they had other players. It's not a duet album. And he did albums together. And Stanley Turrentine did albums with Jimmy Smith. So a lot of Hammond B3.
Y'all count cool out.
Peace to the guy.
Exactly, that's who that was. Real hip hop, right?
Peace to the guy. Indeed, God. Indeed.
That's the Grandmaster Caz. Come on, man. The Al Brothers. That's all that.
That's what I'm saying, guy.
Peace, God.
Peace to the God. Right? The Cannonballs. Yeah, definitely. You know? But guys, this is how you uphold culture. Like, I saw so many people get offensive with me, and instead of telling me, I don't think that Puerto Ricans did this, that, they just tell me Puerto Ricans just do this kind of music and this dumb stuff, this and that. And I'm like, I know something happened. I know people decided to choose a lane to go with and not disrespect their Black American peoples and stay on code, even if it goes against being a 5%er. Because I saw some people, and they're talking to me about the depth of Willie Colon and the musicianship, the funk that was in the salsa, the jazz that was in the salsa, because that's what makes it the merging of, right? Then the next day they want to tell me, y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all didn't, you don't know how to do nothing. And you was just, right? People forgetting though. People forgetting. And I think that the lack of this kind of history and the way it's becoming exclusionary and not understood properly as multicultural, this is what takes away from the impact of what we gods and earths are doing. That we have a model of multicultural reality. We have to study that, you know? We have to take the time in that. But I really, it's like I'm coming here every week to give statements, and I'm working to, this week, I don't know if I can reschedule this business meeting, but so I may not have class on this Thursday coming up, right? And it allows me to finish some of my projects, but one of those projects is my 1 to 10 plus lesson worksheet. I'm going to make a worksheet for the 1 to 10, and I'm going to work on it during this week coming up, okay? Jose Feliciano, you know? Look, man, when I was growing up, I used to hate Jose Feliciano. I was like mad at him for that damn Feliciano. I don't hate on it now, though, but when I heard his boleros, his Spanish singing stuff, that's really where he can sing in Spanish. The boleros, oof. But his English is really good too. He's funky, but the music was not that good. It was a little bit too pop. I always felt Jose Feliciano's English music needed to be funkier. But the Spanish boleros, man, that was when this playing and soul was in there. But that's what I'm going to do. But I've had to make these statements because people need to know. I teach that the Black man is God, and I teach, and I know that you're learning it from me, a Black man. Oh, damn. This knowledge is there. When I go out to the world, I tell them, listen, the way I tell the world and get them to understand that, yo, I'm Black. I got to tell them I'm Boricua. Yo soy Boricua también. This is how we get them. This is how we build. And if you don't know that, you're not really building with original peoples. You know? I gotta revisit that Craig Mack song. I don't even remember the first album, which I actually like. The first Craig Mack album with that bastard Diddy was it's a good album. But with that said, I'm gonna let everybody go. Everybody knows how to contact me, Sunez97@gmail.com. Let me tell you something. Death threats, people saying they're gonna kill me, all that. This is my home. And I'm still gonna be here. And I'm telling you now, if you think that you're gonna just take me out easy, you're gonna keep me from teaching, keep me from building, keep me sane from what I'm saying, you better bring a fucking army with you. That's what I'm saying. Bring a fucking army with you. I keep it peaceful, and every moment I strive and work toward peace. But I will not be silenced, and I will not be told not to build. That's never happening. Peace. We still build.